Okay, so first up is the net. The net I purchased on Amazon, the cage and the net. I purchased on Amazon. If you're going after a net situation, what I wanted was a double net in the back. I wanted to avoid any potential of the ball going through the net. So I went with a double net situation. This particular cage is 10 foot wide, 8 foot tall, 5 foot deep. So far, it's been really good. I am impressed with it. It went together fairly easy. It was, for the most part, a one-person job. I did have my wife help me move it around into a couple different spots just to get into its final position, but overall, it's held up really well. And it's been out here. It's been out in the hot sun for several months now. It's a California summer, so so far it's holding up well. Um, what I wish I had done was get the 10 foot tall one. The 5 foot depth to me doesn't really matter much. This proximity of my hitting mat to it, I'm not too worried about errant shots. It's so far it's caught everything so far. But I do wish I would have gone with the 10 foot high one. Hitting something like a sand wedge, things like that. I'll hit some funky spots. Like every once in a while, I'll hit this back pole. And I've split a couple of balls, and I don't like that. So it's fine. But if you're considering it, I would have you consider the 10 foot tall one. On to the next thing, the mat. I know there's lots of cheap mats out there that just sort of roll out, and um, for me, I really wanted something that was heavy duty. I wanted the thickest, softest thing I could get. I wanted as much give as possible. Um, I really wanted this thing to hold up as long as possible. You can see I've had this out here for several months. I do have some wear spots, and they're just more depressions from where I'm putting my feet, where I've been hitting balls. And I've hit hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of balls off this thing, and I think it's still in really good shape. I've got I've got T holes in the front, and I've got T holes in the back, so if something wears out, I can flip it around. And this was about 145 bucks for this particular mat. I'll have a link down below. Now, for the technology bit, I went with the SC400. The SC400 so far has been a really good little launch monitor. I picked it up almost brand new on Facebook Marketplace for about 360 bucks. It's a great little launch monitor. You can use it standalone at the range. You can use it with an app on your phone, either Android or iOS, or like I am with the tablet up there. It comes with free use of E6 Connect. And so because I'm not much of an iOS guy, E6 Connect only runs on iOS devices. So while you don't have to use iOS specifically for just the Swing Caddy software, if you want to use E6 Connect, you do. So for that, I went with the cheapest route I possibly could. I managed to find a fantastic refurbished iPad Gen 9 on Amazon for 175 bucks. The thing showed up, I thought it was brand new. There wasn't a mark on it. There wasn't a mark on the screen. There wasn't a mark on the case. It runs flawlessly. I've had zero issues with it, no problem. And the E6 Connect software runs on it fantastically. So if you want to run the E6 software and you've got the SC400, you need an iOS device. Now you can use your iPhone as well, but I like it on an iPad. The tripod was about 18 bucks. That's the basic setup of the golf simulator. Now, the optional stuff obviously is I built up this little pad with some pavers. I put down some turf from Home Depot for about 25 bucks a rug. So all in all, I'm into this thing for, I don't know, I'll put the price here. And so far it's been really good. I can see improvements in my game, being able to come out here and swing whenever I want to do whatever I need to do in order to practice and maintain. Now, looking back, now that I've had this thing long term, here are some of the other considerations that I think I would, some of the decisions I think I would make now if I was going to do this again. One, I probably wouldn't go with the SC400. I'd probably go with something like a Rapsodo, or I'd save up a little more money and get something like a Skytrack. My one big gripe about the SC400 is it is a launch monitor, and while it has some simulation capabilities with E6, it's going to give you basic stuff like backspin. It's going to give you stuff like direction, launch angle, all the good stuff. But it doesn't give you a shot shape, and it doesn't give you any side spin numbers. So if you're trying to work on fades, if you're trying to work on draws, you're not going to get any side spin data. So it's either straight down the middle, it's straight right, or it's straight left. You're not going to see any one of those shot shapes out there. I've also noticed that there's a little bit of difference when I'm using the E6 Connect software. coupled with the SC400, the E6 data is slightly different than what's shown on the SC400 data. And I'm sure that's a software thing and how it's interpreting data on that, but I've noticed a difference. I've noticed a problem with drivers every once in a while. I feel like I get after a great drive every once in a while, and then I think, oh my God, I'm going to see a fantastic number, and then it's blank. And it blanks because it didn't pick it up. So I've heard that's a little bit of a gripe with some of the Doppler-based systems. I've definitely noticed that with the SC400. I don't catch every good driver shot. I've also noticed that some of my wedge shots are, they're pretty accurate. I think it has a trouble with that high of a launch angle and that short of a distance. And so I don't trust the distances necessarily that it's given me um, on my wedge game with the SC400. So again, I think I'd probably look for something else. Everything else, I think I've made pretty good decisions. I did a lot of research. A new Doppler was in my budget. Um, Looking back, I'd save up a little bit longer and get a different, get one of those other units, even though you're going to pay a little extra upfront and you're going to pay a little extra in subscription. I think probably depending on what you want to do with it, I think that's probably worth it. So that's my review. That's how we're doing the DIY golf simulator. Let me know what you've done. Let me know if you have any suggestions. If you've got a good line on a new launch monitor that you want to suggest, let me know. And I think I will probably take a look.
Wait, before you go away, here's the instructions on the giveaway.